Sometimes when we master our music, it can be so confusing as to how to first start the mastering process, right? Should you use an EQ first or a compressor? Maybe you should saturate the audio first so that you keep everything there, or maybe we want to put a clipper first. In today's video, I'm going to share with you a technique that I developed called the reverse mastering technique that I think is going to help you figure out the best way to approach mastering when you just don't know where to start. Hope you are having a wonderful day today. My name is Bobby Balo, and I'm the mixing and mastering engineer at Raytown Productions, and I help home studio owners and bedroom producers make better sounding music without buying unnecessary plugins or gear. If you're new to my channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button because I release new videos every single week where I share the latest industry secrets, tips and tricks, and tutorials for helping you make awesome music. And before we jump into the video today, I wanted to also let you know that I have a special gift for you. There's a link in the description to an ebook that contains my favorite free plugins that I use all the time for mixing and mastering. It's a comprehensive guide that covers my favorite compressors, EQs, reverbs, limiters, clippers, and there's even a link to a free mastering grade sample rate converter that's all in this ebook. It's super easy to download. You just go to the description, click that link, and you're going to have access to that totally free. Be sure to grab a copy of that because I know you're going to find it really valuable. We're going to be working with a song by a band called the Aeons Collapse. I have all of their information in the description, so if you like what you hear, please go and support the band. All right, so let's just play the song so you can hear what it sounds like, and then we'll try to make a decision on how we would go about mastering this. So it's big, powerful, massive sounding song, right? And sometimes it's hard to know where to start when we're trying to, take this song as it is and make it as good as it can possibly sound. So maybe we want to start with an EQ, where we might want to roll off some of that low energy that's kind of booming, and then also carve out a little bit of that harsh upper mid to keep those cymbals and guitars tame while we build the level up. Or maybe we want to start with a compressor like the Shadow Hills so that we can glue the track together and give it the right vibe before we start doing the EQ. Or maybe we want to make it wider so you can use something like Wave Center. But if we're not quite sure what it needs initially or what the best first step is, or if it needs anything at all, what I recommend doing is something called the reverse mastering technique, which is something that I came up with, where instead of starting with a typical approach like an EQ, compressor, or whatever, start at the end of the chain. Start with the limiter. So in this case, I'm using FabFilter Pro L2, and let's just get it up to a competitive volume first. See what starts poking out at that point. Then we'll know where the problem areas really are, and then we can work backwards, address them, and then we're good to go. That way we know exactly where to start when we're approaching this master. So I like using FabFilter Pro L2 because it has a gain compensation feature, and if you're not quite sure what that is, I talk about this in a lot of my mastering tutorials. Basically, we need to make sure that we're offsetting any input volume with the output knob so that the level is exactly the same. Otherwise, we'll trick ourselves into thinking it sounds better if it's just louder. So with FabFilter Pro L, you can hold Alt, slide this up, and you can see that this output knob is changing. So we'll be able to hear the effect of the limiting without changing the volume. So let's do that, and let's really push it to a competitive level and see if we notice problem areas poke out. So let's go to the loudest part. So what I noticed when we start really limiting the song more and more is that the guitars start getting more and more harsh sounding, and we're starting to kind of collapse in the stereo image. So in this case, I don't think starting with the compressor is going to fix that problem. I think starting with EQ is probably the best bet. So that is exactly why when I mastered this song, I started with an EQ. So I went in and we did a little bit of mid-side EQ, pulled out a little bit of harshness from the cymbals, gave it a little bit of air and sparkle to help get it wider because it feels like it's starting to collapse in when we're limiting. And then I rolled off this sub-frequency stuff here because as we go forward, we're going to find out that when we put a compressor on, it's going to react a little bit too much to the sub information. So having this in is going to fix that. And so now we have a good foundation for how to approach mastering this song. And we're going to be able to make really, really good decisions as we continue along in the mastering process. So I have a question for you. What do you do when you approach mastering a song? Do you do the same thing every time or do you change it up? Let me know in the comments and let's get a discussion going. Don't forget to head over to the description to grab that copy of my favorite free plugins. You do not want to miss out on that. It is a very valuable resource. And if you found this video helpful, please hit that thumbs up button. That tells YouTube that this video is actually valuable. And if you feel like supporting me, the best thing you can do is just share this video or another video with your friends on social media or on an online community like Reddit or Facebook. That would mean a lot. And with that, I want to thank you so much for your time and attention today, and I hope to see you in another video.